All right, good evening, Burbs. I'm just going to take a quick look at the BTC dominance versus the altcoin dominance charts and show you what I'm looking at and why I think we might actually see a pretty good alt window in the next couple of weeks or months going forward. So excuse me if you can't really hear me clearly. I got my kids sleeping in the next room beside me, so I have to speak in a soft voice. So let's start off by looking at the BTC dominance chart right here. And if you guys remember, when I first joined the Nest as a test contributor, I did a couple of posts on the BTC dominance chart, and I remember marking out this area right here because we saw some clear bearish market structure forming in this area on the lower time frames, and we got that drop down to this support area right here. And what happened with alts in this time frame is actually very interesting. As you can see here, we had in between October and November, we had a massive drop in the BTC dominance. We had a pretty big pump or uptrend in the altcoin dominance, and I'm going to show you guys an example here on Komodo, what happens to alts when that happens. So I actually took this trade and posted it in the Nest Club as a test contributor. What happened was we saw the BTC dominance fall and the altcoin dominance rise, while Bitcoin was actually ranging and showing clear signs of weakness. What happened was I was waiting for this resistance right here to break to the upside, and I then wanted to long the first retest with a rounded retest like we got on the 4-hour here. We broke to the upside, got a rounded retest without any touches in between along the retest for and basically captured this whole move up. So that's what I'm looking at currently. So I'm looking at coins that show the same characteristics like Komodo did back in September, October. We had this weekly W here, and I'm gonna show you another coin that I really think are showing the same stuff here. And with BTC dominance actually falling, if we do break this area to the downside, I think that this area right here might actually act as, or will most probably act as, a magnet for price to come down here for 6% move or 7% move down to this area, just like we got here, like a 6-7% move. So keeping that in mind and keeping how Komodo looked like in mind, we're gonna take a look at XMR. So let's just remove all of these stuff. So Komodo is forming a W on the weekly, and it looks like it wants to break out. If BTC dominance falls below this area, comes down and tests this area, I look for a 6 or 7% move down for BTC dominance. And when that actually happens, I anticipate that altcoin dominance will most probably come up and test this area up here. If we break this area, we'll probably come up and trade into this area right here, and that will really give alts a nice window to perform well. And I'm looking for pretty much exactly the same scenario we had back in October, November, when we actually had that nice altcoin window where alts were popping off, doing 2x's all over the place in a short amount of time, like a couple of weeks. So and what I'm seeing right now is the market is actually gearing up towards the same characteristics like we had back then. So just a quick summary of what I'm looking at. BTC dominance is looking weak. We have started making lower lows and pretty much lower highs on the weekly. So we got a weekly downtrend, we got a daily downtrend obviously. So it's looking pretty bearish, and this area right here has been tested quite a lot of times, so I do anticipate it will break down and test this area right here. Altcoin dominance looking strong. I do anticipate a move up into this area, so we might actually, if we break above here, test all the way up here. And just like we had back in October, November, we had this down move here, and we might actually see a similar down move down here. And if that happens, I do anticipate alts moving just like Komodo did. And look at the similarities between Komodo in September, October, and XMR right now. So if this breaks upside, I want a longer retest targeting this area and this area. So yeah, that's basically why I'm bullish on alts going forward. And obviously this all depends on Bitcoin, right? You can't really have an alt season or an alt window with Bitcoin pumping or dumping like crazy. So you have to, Bitcoin needs to be stable. It needs to be ranging or moving slowly, showing signs of weakness and bleeding slowly. That's pretty much the perfect environment for altcoins to outperform Bitcoin. So I hope this video made sense. I don't really put a lot of weight on the TA, on the altcoin, the dominance charts, but if we do get a similar reaction like we had in November, October, if history will repeat itself, then I'm definitely going to use this type of analysis more in the future, because it haven't really happened this obvious like it did back then. If it happens again in the exactly the same manner, then I think this will definitely be a type of analysis to use going forward. So what I do is I look for patterns in the market, right? And what I'm seeing right now is a possible pattern forming. So keep your eyes open and look for alts to break out, and it's probably gonna be pretty quick, and it's probably gonna show itself across the whole alt market. So when you see a lot of alts breaking out, you look for the ones that look strong and the ones with the great, the high risk to reward ratio. And for me personally, I'm gonna look for altcoins that are trading inside or nearby its RLC of its latest uptrend. I don't really have an obvious RLC on XMR, but it has a weekly W, and a weekly W for me is when the weekly W actually breaks out, buying the retest has been very good historically. So that's what I'm looking for, altcoins that are trading inside the RLC or close to the RLC, or showing a potential or a current weekly W. The most, the perfect setup is a weekly W inside an RLC. Yeah, so that's my thoughts on the Bitcoin dominance chart versus the altcoin dominance charts, and how I kind of look at the relationship between the two. Hopefully you guys find this kind of videos interesting. If you want, just leave a like or subscribe or whatever, and yeah, it's getting pretty late here, so I'm just gonna say good night and take care, everyone.